Good afternoon or evening, as the case may be, and welcome to the 2020 No Cape, No Star World tournament. Today we are presenting a match in Group E between Sten and Mysticool. Both of these runners currently have 1-0 records, so whoever wins this will be very well positioned for advancing to brackets. I'm Drosy1 with you tonight. We should be underway very shortly now. But while we're waiting, the standard rules recap. Why is it no Star World? Well, we did no Star World last year, and if we allowed Star World, these matches would be done in 10 minutes, and that's kind of quick. So we do no Star World to make it more interesting. And why no Cape? Well, that also makes it more interesting. And in fact, if either of the runners were to take a Cape accidentally, they would then be required to take a death or else be disqualified. So let's hope they don't accidentally take any capes. That could set them back a bit. And looks like we are now underway. Both runners have the Japanese version going, as you can see. The main difference between that and the English version is that Yoshi is not required to maintain a dolphin-safe diet. So if we are lucky, we may see a very environmentally unfriendly Yoshi later. So already the two runners have slightly different strategies. Sten's playing with some Koopa shells while Mysticool is just going for it. Both of the runners remembered not to cut the midway tape. If you do that in this level, you'll get a nice notice about how great the midway tape is, which will cost you about 2 seconds. So the whole first world, Yoshi's Island, is pretty straightforward, not to say that a runner can't fall down a bottomless pit, but usually at this level, it's highly unlikely. So we just get to watch Mario jump around. And both runners get identical 259s on that level, which is a solid score, or timing, I should say. And once again, identical 275s on this level. Sorry about the lack of sync. We're working on getting it synced up here. Okay, Iggy's Castle will feature our first power-ups of the game. The runners will go through the midway tape here to get large, and we'll then grab a fire flower during the auto-scroll section because, well, it's not really going to cost them any time since the auto-scroll is auto-scrolling, so don't need to worry about losing speed or anything. Sten's having some fun with his newfound powers. Yeah, and just to reiterate what chat's saying, finishing times are generally in the 35 to 40 range. I believe only about a dozen runners have PBs that are under 35. And now the game starts to get interesting. This is where the levels start to require skill. First of all, you get those red Koopas. If you stomp on one of them, it releases a feather. Runners are not allowed to get the feathers. They need to try not to stomp on them, so they're going to be using as many fireballs as they can. They will be collecting Yoshi in this later in this level, because without the cape, you need Yoshi to finish the level. And Sten and Mysticool both get that jump off Yoshi very nicely. So this level, probably the most important thing is preserving firepower, because those Rip Van fishes are really pesky, and if you can turn them into coins with a fireball, it makes life easier. When they get as far as things like the P-switch and the key, they will be carrying those, because for some reason, carrying objects underwater makes Mario float and swim much faster. Goodness only knows why. And if you do it right, you can go right under the bottom without drowning. And somehow still shoot fireballs while holding the P-switch as well. I guess Mario fires the fireballs from his mouth, right? He spits fire. Oh, and just to update about sub 35 times, there are currently 14 runners who have PBs under 35 on this game. Sten is such a runner. His PB is 34.56. Mysticool, on the other hand, has a PB of 38.46. But really, anything can happen in these races. None of these races are over until they're over. Runners can be doing incredibly and then take a really late fall. So we're already on to Donut Plains 3, which... Or is it 4? I've lost track. Either way, these are a series of levels that require skill. They're like Sten swallowing that flower and Mysticool as well. The next thing in the cycle after the flower is the feather, so you really don't want to accidentally swallow the feather. Yeah, that was Donut Plains 4. They breezed through 3 so quickly I didn't even see it. So again, the runners here in Morton's Castle will be trying to keep firepower as long as they can, because it makes for a much quicker boss kill if you can just use fireballs in the boss room. The other thing to notice in here is that they will most likely be grabbing a springboard and carrying it with them, so that at the final place where all these moving blocks are, they don't have to wait for the last moving blocks to come out. Nice catch of the Fire Flower by Sten. And that's how you want to do it. What Sten did is what Mysticool's trying to do as well, and hopefully will succeed. And that is a very fast Morton kill. Unfortunately, Mysticool lost his tempo there and has to wait for those blocks to retract. But he does get the fast kill on Roy, so he didn't lose too much time. And now on to Vanilla Dome 1, where Yoshi will be playing with blue Koopa shells a bit. He needs to get rid of those enemies, then get the shell back so he can fly up, because Yoshi with the blue shell is the only way you're going to fly if you can't use the cape. And both of these runners having very nice execution on that level. Sten is already on to the secret, where we sacrifice Yoshi in the name of jumping higher. Oh, and a very nice job skipping one of those springboards. Let's see if Mysticool can pull it off as well. Ooh, he doesn't quite land that bounce right. But he does manage to skip one of those springboards. And this is Vanilla Secret 2 that consists mostly of bouncing off Koopas and then bouncing off of other things, like Spinies. Oh no, Mysticool. Okay. Caught up with Yoshi, but it is going to cost him some time. And P-Speed. And Sten is now in everyone's favorite dolphin level. Let's see if Yoshi is going to have a dolphin snack today. No dolphins for Sten's Yoshi. Will Mysticool be any different? And while Mysticool is jumping dolphins, Sten is on our first fortress. In this route, we will see two fortresses. This one, which is really a pain because the enemies are impervious to fireballs, and there aren't any items you can pick up to speed up, so you just have to swim along slowly and not hit any enemies. And then the second fortress will be right before Bowser's Castle. But it does give us the opportunity to see two Reznor fights, which can make a few seconds difference depending how well you handle the Reznors. Sten getting a pretty quick Reznor kill there. And Mysticool's now swum most of the way through to Reznor himself. And we'll focus on Mysticool because Sten's going to be spending the next few minutes of his life waiting for Butterbridge 1 to scroll. Oh, Mysticool got 3 Reznor. Oh no! Didn't time that jump, takes the lava bath, and unfortunately he will have to repeat the whole level. And small this time. But it still beats watching Butter Bridge 1. Okay, here's Mysticool's second shot at Reznor. Gets 3 of them again. Now he has to be careful with the 4th. There he goes. The one advantage for spacing runners out like this is that we won't have to watch both of them in Butter Bridge 1 at the same time. So Sten finishes it as Mysticool starts it, and we will focus on Sten for a bit. Ooh. Sten did such a nice job eating those first couple of Koopas and getting up his P-speed, and then he lost Yoshi. And this is really going to slow him down here. But he does make it through it. I'm trying to remember whether Ludwig's castle has 2 power-ups available or not. Because he might be condemned here to... Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are 2 power-ups. So he has some chance of not having to take slow strats on Ludwig. Oh, nope. My apologies, I for some reason thought there was a power-up next to that on-off switch. Mysticool, meanwhile, is done with Butter Bridge 1. Yeah, so you can make Ludwig go faster here if you do the second stomp while he is still in the air here, like that. You can then stomp him a 3rd time on the ground and not have to wait for a 2nd cycle. Mysticool also having trouble keeping his Yoshi there and trying to get one of those blue shells. There, he finally gets it. And now he's able to fly over the rest of the level, so that should actually make up a little bit of time. And Sten injures that hill in the distance that really never did anything wrong to anyone. So our 2 runners are a level apart now, as Sten heads into the Forest of Illusion. He'll need to pick up a Yoshi in here. Firepower doesn't hurt either. Need to pick up Yoshi is probably too strong a word, but there is a nice glitch in 5.2 that you need Yoshi to do. And Mysticool is well on his way to Ludwig now. So now we're in 5.2. I'm sure Sten will try to clip through the floor. There's a point towards the beginning where if you jump off Yoshi and then try to remount him right as he's falling through the floor, you can clip through the floor. But it's frame specific. It only works on 3 out of every 4 frames, so... But Sten gets it on the first try. And then sacrifices Yoshi to the water gods. And Mysticool has beaten Ludwig. So once again, it's a water level. You want to be able to hold a block as much of the time as you can, or a key, or a P-switch. Something that somehow is lighter than water, even though we found it sitting on the bottom. I'm not quite sure how that works. Okay, Mysticool's getting his Yoshi in Farce of Illusion 1. Sten is in Farce of Illusion 3. The most important thing in this level is to stay large, because the vanilla way to get the key at the end involves spin cutting through some blocks, and if you can't stay large, you have to do a bit of a glitch with a Goomba. And here's that key, as Mysticool heads on to the water level. And Sten's on Roy's castle, which will take a while because, well, if you're allowed to use capes, you just, get a good start, P-speed, and you fly over this level. Without the cape, you have to sit on the conveyor belt. Once we get to the next area with the spikes, since Sten doesn't have any backup power-ups, he can use a slightly risky strategy. Oh, nope, now he can't use a slightly risky strategy. I was gonna say that he could jump onto the spikes and try to get off of them before his invincibility expires, but having taken that damage, he's in for a long ride. So this is another opportunity for Mysticool to potentially make up some time, if he can keep his power-ups through to that point. He also did the clip through the floor very nicely there. So again, if you have a backup power-up, you can re-power up and then use fire strats on Roy. It's difficult, but it's possible, and again, opportunity for a good time save, though I don't think Mysticool's going to get 2 fire flowers between now and then. But Sten has blown up Roy's castle and himself. So let's see if Mysticool can at least stay large and not have to wait for the moving platform to get through the spikes. Sten's on Chocolate Island 1 and just took a hit to the Dino Rhinos. Oh, didn't quite make that jump onto the chuck. Makes that jump the second time and even stays large. And Mysticool is on the Roy battle. He got there somewhat faster. Sorry about Sten's run there. Hopefully we can get the feedback for you before it finishes. But in the meantime, we've still got Mysticool to watch. He's still doing a quite good job. Yeah, the fact that Mysticool is behind in this race is nothing to take away from his abilities. He's still a quite good runner. Sten just happens to be one of the top dozen or so for this mode. And Mysticool remembers that if you bring that spring through the finishing gate, it will turn into a mushroom. So now we're on Chocolate Island 2, which is one of my favorite levels of the game. Oh, sorry. Forgot about the ghost house. I always forget about the ghost house. It shouldn't be there. It is a very annoying ghost house. And that fishing boo is really annoying, though Mysticool regains his power up immediately. Looks like Sten's already on Chocolate Secret now. Mysticool does not try for the fast door there. So now, if you intentionally take damage there, you can do a spin jump just like that. Mysticool gets it on the first try. Great. And Sten is doing the long slide through the back portion of Chocolate Secret. Okay, so now I get to talk about Chocolate Island 2, where each screen has certain requirements for what you get on the next screen. So depending on how many coins you finish this first screen with determines the second screen. The second screen, depending what time you finish it with, determines the third screen. And for these runners' purposes, we need to get to the third screen with more than 250 left on the clock. Otherwise, you'll go to the normal ending, but with 271 on the clock, Mysticool is on the screen that gets you the key that will get you to Chocolate Secret, and nicely goes under those chucks as Sten finishes the Chocolate Secret. So Sten on Wendy's castle has to be careful since he's small. Spin jumps can deal with everything except for those pounding spikes. Speaking of spin jumps, Mysticool is having fun stomping those buzzy beetles. And Sten, knowing him, should be able to run through this very quickly. He does indeed. There are some jumps that if you don't make them immediately, you have to wait for the cycle. And let's see, can Sten get the minimum 3 cycle on Wendy? So far, so good. Yep, he gets it. So he will be on to the Ghost Ship, which is one of Bowser's ships from Super Mario 3 that has since sunk and lain in ruins. And Mysticool done with the chocolate secret, and hopefully he can keep pace through Wendy's castle. Oh no, Mysticool takes a hit and winds up in the lava. Sten gave Wendy's palace the window washing it needed. And he is on to our spooky ship. And Mysticool runs into the same Podoboo. Okay, let's see how Sten does with the ghost rings coming up. You can make one of them disappear, and then do you try to go through the small gaps, or do you not risk it? Yep, he gets... Wow, he managed to get both of them disappearing. I'm not sure I've seen that yet this tournament. Mysticool is now on to the second part of Wendy's castle, but he's playing it a bit more cautiously and takes a hit anyway. Sten is now in a very large fall, where he lands on an orb. Oh no, Mysticool gets hit by another Podoboo. So Sten is now in the Valley of Bowser, where he will hopefully charge over some chucks and jump on moles. Mysticool is back in Wendy's chamber. Yep, nice job going over the chucks. So Sten takes that block to hit the chuck. Instead of, optionally, he could have taken a little bit more time but carried the block to the finish and gotten a power-up. So he's going to continue on as Small Mario. Mysticool has beaten Wendy now. He should still be good for a sub 40. Okay, so now Sten is in the really tough part where it's a combination of how much risk you want to take being able to run through, and do you think you can clip through the ceiling or the floor? Well, Sten hasn't clipped through, but he did do that run very nicely. But he's going to take it cautiously here. Mysticool grabs the power-up and unfortunately then loses it. So he's gonna have to be careful with these ghosts here, but maybe he can despawn the ghost ring. And Sten is on to the third room in Valley of Bowser 2, which is where you take a big jump here. Oh, didn't quite make it, so he waits for the platform. Yeah, this is one of those places where the game actually requires you to go across the ceiling, because it's the only way to get to the key, and unfortunately Mysticool did not despawn these ghost rings. So he's gonna... Oh! Tried to sneak through, didn't work. So Sten is now on our penultimate level and second fortress. Not gonna risk that next set of spikes. Nice jumping off the Podoboos. And yes, I like to say Podoboo, so sue me. And we're on to Resnor's, the last battle before Bowser, and that was another very nice Resnor kill. Okay, again, Mysticool doesn't get the rings to despawn. He's going to be playing it safe in here. Sten is in Bowser's castle by the back entrance. But you can just see some ninjas and Mecha Koopas in there. Breaks the midway tape, and here is a clown mobile. And Bowser. And Mysticool is taking the long fall. Oh, it's one of those spikes. But he grabs his orb. Okay, so the Bowser strats here are, you don't immediately throw up that second Mecha Koopa. Instead, you wait for him to toss another one, which Sten did. That was great timing, hits him right after he tosses it. And with this next Mecha Koopa, you can skip a bowling ball cycle. So you wait for the first bowling ball, and then right before Bowser would normally throw the second bowling ball, if you hit him with a Mecha Koopa, he'll forget about that bowling ball and go on to throwing out more Mecha Koopas. And Mysticool now making his way through Valley of Bowser 1. He takes the midway tape just to get a power-up. So, yeah, that's where Bowser would have thrown a second Mecha Koopa, but doesn't. Sorry, second bowling ball, but doesn't. And that second Mecha Koopa hit is enough to send Bowser off to Phase 3, and this should be pretty shortly GG. So there's one hit, just need to wait for another Mecha Koopa, and bye-bye Bowser. And there we go. And Sten finishes with an official SRL time of 36:54. GG. Well, Mysticool is playing it really safe here in Valley of Bowser 2. Okay, let's see if Sten wants to interview here. And in any case, Mysticool is on to the fortress. Let's see how he does with the spikes and the Resnors. Hopefully he has a bit better luck with the Resnors this time. Nice job getting past those spikes. Also does the Podoboo hops. Very nice job by Mysticool going through all of this. Ah, and we have Sten here. GG.
Why, thank you.
So, how did you like the run?
Definitely not my best. But it could have been worse. Butterbridge 2, that was very stupid.
Yeah, you lose Yoshi, and it does kind of make a difference.
Yeah. But, like, at least I got through alive, and, like, after that you don't have to go back for a Yoshi. It's not worth going back for fire, so...
Yeah, yeah, that was probably your one particular place that slowed you down, unless
Yeah,
there was
that...
something during blue screen of death time.
Let's see. Oh, I can give the quick recap of Blue Screen of Death. So, let's see. I was in CI1, died to the Chuck, because I was small. Or yeah, I got the mushroom, got hit in a stupid place, and died to the Chuck somehow. Then just normal CI1 after that, got the mushroom. I think I got hit in the ghost house, so then I had to grab the mushroom in the second room to do the deboost.
But you
And
got the
CI...
boost.
Yep, got it. No issues
Cool.
there. And then CI2 was business as usual. And then stream should have been back by Choco Secret.
Yeah, it came back around when you were doing the Buzzy Beetle slide in there.
Oh, okay. Room 1 was... I messed up a bit, I think. Like, lost a little bit of time in room 1. Wasn't too much.
Okay, yeah, I mean, overall, it seems like I'm gonna guess most of your time loss was on Butterbridge 2 because you still got 36 and change.
Yeah, well... Yeah, it would have been... Yeah, I guess Butterbridge 2 not having fire... Oh, that's right. I got hit like an idiot by a Podoboo in Roy, so I had to ride the snake all the way.
Yeah,
That was slow.
I forgot about that, but now that you mention it, yeah, I remember that happening. But, you're still one of the better runners in the tournament. You're 2-0 now. You should almost certainly make brackets.
Yeah,
So,
I'm trying to think. I don't think there's a scenario where I don't progress. Because, like, if Brams wins his 2 races, then... Like, if I lose to Brams and he wins his other race, then he's 3... Like, he has 3 wins, I still have 2 wins. And...
you could theoretically lose to him, and he could lose to Mysticool, and then you'd have a 3-way tie, and it would be settled by who had the best times in those 3
Oh, yeah,
matches.
okay. That's... yeah, I'm still... I don't
So,
think... I'm not even sure how 3-way ties
oh,
get settled.
Mysticool just took a death on phase 3 of Bowser.
Ooh. You hate to see that. I've done that more times than I'd care to admit.
Yeah, he was throwing up the Mecha Koopa and ran into the propeller.
Hmm.
So, yeah, sorry for interrupting, but as I was saying, yes, it's highly likely at 2-0 that you'll be going on to brackets. But it depends what Bram and Mysticool do.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Although, as part of waiting and seeing, my race against Brams is up next in about 10 minutes, so...
Oh yeah,
at
and
least...
on that note, we should plug that we do have 2 more races coming up tonight, including Sten versus Brams, which will be right here starting as soon as we finish up. And then following that at 8 o'clock, we have Mario versus Lanxian. So should be a good evening of No Cape, No Star World. We're just gonna let Mysticool finish up. Oh, he runs into the propeller again. He was large, but he can't do that again if he wants to beat Bowser. Oh yeah, so the other thing, Sten, are you playing Dolphin safe?
What do you mean dolphin safe?
Yoshi didn't eat any dolphins.
Oh, that was I would have eaten. They just... If they get in my way, I'll eat them.
Oh, okay.
But I don't go out of my way to eat dolphins because that would be slow. And this is a speed.
Yeah, but usually there's one that can be eaten right in Yoshi's way. Okay, Mysticool just needs to hit Bowser one more time. Let's hope he's got it. Yes, he's got it. So Bowser down, and Mysticool finishes with an official SRL time of 44:17. GG's to him. And yes, we should also note that Mysticool is 1-1 now, so if he beats Brams, he'll be well positioned for advancing as well. He just needs to beat Brams if he wants to advance. But yeah, I think that'll do it. Any final thoughts, Sten?
Nope. I guess I'm scared Brams is gonna beat me.
Well, good luck in your race against him. All our viewers stick around. As I say, that's coming up as soon as we wrap this, probably in 5 to 10 minutes. And then stick around for the 8 p.m. race after that. We also have plenty of races going on through the weekend. Tomorrow, they'll be on SG4 in the afternoon and SG2 in the evening, which is also a good reminder to make sure to follow all of these speed gaming channels. We have SpeedGaming and SpeedGaming 2 through 6. And you probably saw the notifications in chat that we're also doing Portuguese restreams for a lot of these races. There's a big Brazilian community that's participating in this tournament. So if you speak Portuguese, do follow Spanish, German, or French restreams. But we do have Speed Gaming Espanol, Speed Gaming Francais, and Speed Gaming Deutsch. So check those out too if you speak those languages. And stick around, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Oh, right. And just as one final plug, do follow these runners. They will be having more matches, hopefully advancing. So there should be much more running to see out of them. And I'm Drosy1, and thanks a lot for watching.